Longtime Green Bay Packer quarterback Aaron Rodgers announced on the Pat McAfee show that he intends to play for the New York Jets next season. I'm going to play the clip from the show. We're going to react to it. I'm going to talk about what this means for both the Packers and the Jets moving forward. Before I do, though, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Let's get to it.
So I'm no malice, no bitterness towards the Packers. It's been bittersweet for sure the last 10 days. So I've shifted my focus to entertaining, what the plane would look like, and had the Packers granted obviously permission for the Jets to come out and visit. We had a nice visit. They decided to leave their cars in the street, which attracted paparazzi attention, which got a few of them photographed, which I thought was pretty funny. But
made a couple of mistakes, really.
But we had a nice conversation, and I told them, listen, I'm not ready to make a decision about anything. I want to get back into my workouts and see how it feels. To really hit it hard for a week. I've obviously been working out before that, but to really hit it hard for a week and to see if that drive and the passion is still there, and then I'll see where we're at. And so again, this is why this is not a decision here. The decision I think was made in my mind whether or not I was able to admit at that point. Really on that Tuesday, I wanted to play.
So important there, Aaron Rodgers noted that earlier on in the interview, I should say, he noted that he originally, before he went to his darkness retreat, intended to retire. He was 90%, was the quote from him, that he intended to retire as a Packer. And then he came back from the retreat and he saw there was a lot of commotion about where he might go. Apparently the Packers were already talking to people. And at that point, he had started to shift his focus on what he wanted to do and reevaluate what he wanted to do. So just that context there, I think, would be helpful.
Then it was, how is my body feeling? Is it going to be able to hold up? So at this point, as I sit here, I think since Friday, I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
Okay.
There you go.
And I haven't been holding anything up at this point. It's been compensation that the Packers are trying to get for me and kind of digging their heels in. So I would just, I think it is interesting at this point to step back and look at the whole picture. My side, love and appreciation, gratitude for everything that Green Bay has done for me. So much love and gratitude and just heart open for the Packer fans.
Hell yeah.
And what it's meant to be their quarterback. And also the reality of the situation, it is what it is. The Packers would like to move on. They've let me know that in so many words. They've let other people know that in direct words. And because I still have that fire and I want to play and I would like to play in New York, it's just a matter of, getting that done at this point.
Well, there you go. There you have it. Aaron Rodgers announcing that he does intend to play in New York next season. This comes to no surprise to many people who've been following just free agency in general. We know that the Raiders, who currently have his former teammate in Devontae Adams, they were out of the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes after they signed, I should say, Jimmy G. You have Aaron Rodgers later on in this interview. I wasn't going to play the whole thing, but later on in the interview, he talked about some of his motivations for joining the New York Jets. And he cleared up some misconceptions that the media and the public have had about his situation, where he's coming from, and this decision as a whole. Now, on that first point, why he wanted to play in New York, he met with Robert Saleh. He met with Woody Johnson. Obviously, that had a big part to play in it. One of the key things he mentioned, though, later on in the interview was Nathaniel Hackett. Now, for those of you who might not know, Nathaniel Hackett, former offensive coordinator for Aaron Rodgers. He was the coordinator for Rodgers during his back-to-back MVP seasons, so his most successful seasons in the NFL. And then he later last year, I should say, he became the head coach of the Denver Broncos. That obviously was a disaster, and it had a lot of people talking when he joined the Jets. Now, Rodgers says that the reason he's joining the reason that the Jets got Hackett wasn't because they wanted to get Rodgers, right? That's what he claims. He says, well, no, Nathaniel Hackett is a great coach, and I think it's disrespectful to even assume that that's the case. I'm just like, Whether or not it's disrespectful to Nathaniel Hackett as a football coach, I'm not going to get into that because I don't know football as well as Nathaniel Hackett does. That's the cold hard fact, right? The real take fact, I should say. But one thing is for sure, it doesn't take, that intelligent of a person to realize that Aaron Rodgers has a lot of appreciation for Nathaniel Hackett, that Aaron Rodgers looks up to Nathaniel Hackett and has a lot of respect for him and likes him. He likes him, and he had his most successful seasons with him. So it would make sense, right, if you're the Jets to be like, hey, maybe to add a little extra level of persuasion here, let's get him. Let's get Nathaniel Hackett. He and Rodgers were a combo that worked to a T, worked to have some of the most successful offenses the league has seen in the past decade. Let's go all in on that. They did, and whether or not it was their intended strategy, it worked. So you have that aspect of it. Rodgers talked about how this idea of him having a wish list of players that he wants isn't as true as the media is making it out to be. He mentioned this story, which is hilarious, that apparently Adam Schefter texted Aaron Rodgers asking him about the situation, and Rodgers texted back saying, "Lose my number, nice try," and which is hilarious, especially considering Schefter literally tweeted that out, and I'm just like, dog, why are you tweeting out your own L's? Why are you showing to the world what you could have just suffered in silence? But no, he put his own receipts out there, which is pretty hilarious to me. I wouldn't do that, but so you have that, and now you have Aaron Rodgers joining the Jets. He also said in that interview that the writing was kind of on the wall when Jordan Love was drafted, and he that's like the first time that this started to happen, and he kind of knew that eventually things were going to come to a head. And now they have, right? And he talks about the Packers as if they wanted to let go of him, move on from him. And that's kind of what motivated him. And that's what's caused this, don't want to say a rift, but sometimes after 20 years or whatever, however long he's been in the league, nearly 20 years, sometimes you just got to move on to a new chapter in your life. Sometimes that's retirement. For Rodgers right now, that is moving on to play on another team, a talented young football team that has a lot of key pieces and that could use a guy like Rodgers on their team to help to try to win a Super Bowl. I was talking to a Jets fan right before this, and literally he was telling me it's Super Bowl or bust. Whatever you think of Aaron Rodgers, he is a bit of a snowflake for sure. Man can still throw the football. People want to point to last year and that offense being what it was. It was not a great offense, but that wasn't just due to Aaron Rodgers. That was due to a lot of different factors on that football team. I think they're going to be better in the Jets for having him, for sure. They're going to be better. I think the Jets have a great defense that they can't really afford to trade away any pieces in this trade for Rodgers for. I think the compensation that's apparently holding this up, the Packers really want more for Rodgers, I think, than even teams first realized they did. I am assuming that the end result isn't going to be a massive Russell Wilson type haul. I think it's probably going to be something along the lines of a first round pick, a third round conditional pick, yada yada yada, something like that. But as far as Rodgers and what he has to offer and his legacy, right? His legacy, because we already talked about what he has to offer. Let's talk about his legacy. He's claimed in this interview that, in his opinion, he is the greatest Packer of all time. Now, while you could make that argument, certainly, I think in my opinion, he's better than Brett Favre. He's greater in the sense of the NFL than Brett Favre, for sure. But you have a few other people on that list. You have Bart Starr, who brought the city of Green Bay multiple championships. You have Reggie White, one of the most explosive and impactful defenders in the history of professional football. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that he's all the way up there, but he is one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He is the longest running or the longest tenured Packer of all time. That is true. He did make a point to mention that, and that is something that no one can take away from him. There's no one that gave more to the city of Green Bay, that gave more to Lambeau, that gave more to the fans of Green Bay than Aaron Rodgers. That is true. All the other stuff aside, all the social stuff, all the immunized stuff aside, it is 100% factual that this dude bled green and yellow for nearly 18 years before things came to a head. So as far as what happens next, we'll have to wait to see what this trade ends up being. Hopefully for the Jets, it's not like an insane haul, but you're going to have to give up at least one first-round pick, in my opinion, for Aaron Rodgers, regardless of where you think his talent level is right now. But I want to hear from you guys. You guys let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Is this a good trade for the Jets? Is it bad for the Jets? Are the Packers moving on from Rodgers too early? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.